Meso-America derived from the Greek word Meso, which means Middle America. Meso-America is the region that is now Mexico and Central America. Meso-America was home to three major civilizations during the pre-Columbian times. These are Mayan, Aztecs, and Incas. These three major civilizations were said to have a common ancestors called Olmecs. They live along the Gulf Coast of modern-day Mexico in tropical rainforests and lowlands from around 1200 BC to 400 BC. Known to many historians as the mother of culture that strongly influences the later civilizations. Colossal head find. It is the Olmec art of carving large head from basalt, a type of volcanic rock. This fragment part of earliest calendar system in Meso-America. It includes the partial date in the calendrical system known as Long Cord. It is primarily associated with the classic period Maya, where it recorded historical events for royal courts. The Olmec used an early form of gleb writing to record events, dates, and to tell stories. Glebs are pictures that represent words. Maya 250 AD to 900 AD developed in what is now called the Yucatan Peninsula. They incorporated their advanced understanding of astronomy into their temples and other religious structures. The El Castillo, or the castle, a 79-foot pyramid, has a total of 365 steps, the same numbers as the days in solar year of Chichen Itza. Maya built his circular building believed to be an observatory. Snake of Sunlight, Chichen Itza, Mexico during equinox. As the sun sets, the snake appears to wriggle down the step of the pyramid until it finally joined the serpent's head at the base of the staircase. By carefully watching the stars, the Maya developed a 365 days calendar could even predict solar eclipses. Mayan is now measuring the time using two complicated calendar systems. The Zoc in calendar combines 20 days names with the 13 days number to produce 260 unique days. It is used to determine the time of religious and ceremonial event and for divination. Mayan are considered one of the most scientifically advanced societies in Mesoamerica. As they skilled in mathematics, the Mayan and other Mesoamerican cultures use a vigesimal number system based on base 20, probably originally developed from counting on fingers and toes. The numerals consisted of only three symbols. 0 represent a shell shape, 1 a dot, 5 a bar.
The period of Incas. The Inca was developed in ancient Peru between 1400 and 1533 CE and there eventually extended across western South America, from Quito in the north to Santiago in the south, making it the largest empire ever seen in the American and the largest in the world at that time. The Incas have advanced scientific ideas and tools to help them in every life, such as road paved with stones. Road paved with stones is the Incas built a large system of roads that went throughout their empire. The roads were usually paved with stone. Stone steps were often built into steep areas in the mountain. Stones buildings. It is a building method by which structures are constructed from stones without any mortar to bind them together. Dry stone structures are stable because of their unique construction method, which is characterized by the presence of load-bearing facade of carefully selected interlocking stones. The Inca were expert farmers. They used irrigation and water storage techniques to grow crops in all sorts of terrain from the desert to high mountains. Despite not having beasts of burden or iron tools, the Inca farmers were very efficient. They have standard measurement units, medical specialists, astronomical and calendar data recorded into a very architecture or the cities. They do not have a writing system. They use a sophisticated system of tying string called kipu to keep records, which they use for data in taxes, calendar, and even military organization.
In the 1100s, the Aztecs settled in the Valley of Mexico on the swampy shores of Lake Texcoco and on a small island in the lake. The Aztec named this place Tenochtitlan, and it eventually became the capital of their civilization. Mighty Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan had broad avenues, beautiful plazas, markets, temples, and places. The Inactitan, also known as Mexico Tenochtitlan, was large Mexican artificial in what is now the historic center. The contribution of the Aztec. The school to build Tenochtitlan into the city they waned. The Aztec knew that they would need many engineering, builders, and other specialists. Special profession. Aztec children were trained to be specialists in some area. Boys studied how to farmers, traders, builders, astronomers, and doctors. Students who became builders and engineers designed and built the amazing Aztec cities, including the capital of Tenochtitlan, or path usually built across a body of water. Farming. To solve the issue of growing crops in a swampy area, the Aztec built chinampas. Chinampas are floating gardens built on a series of rafts, which were anchored to the lake bed. They piled dirt on the top of the rafts and grew crops on them. The gardens were quite successful. The Aztec grew chili peppers, squash, corns, tomatoes, and beans.
Huitzilopochtli is the god of the sun, and were above all they believed that they live in the era of the fifth sun, and that in a day the world could end violently in order to postpone their destructions and appease the gods. Men perform human sacrifices. Human sacrifice. Well, human sacrifice is the act of killing one or more human as part of rituals usually intended to place or appease guide spirits of dead ancestor. Such a prior pretty offering as a retainer sacrifices. When the king's servants are killed in order for them to continue to serve their master in the next life. The Aztec conquered over 400 cities in Mexico. The Aztec often used prisoners they capture as slaves or as human sacrifices to the arrival of Spaniards. The Aztec were conquered the Spanish both guns, dogs, horses, and disease. It was the disease that could kill the Aztec. The highest empire collapsed. The Spanish stopped over the entire region for this region. Cortes' victory destroyed the Aztec Empire, and the Spanish began to consolidate control over what began a colony of New Spain. Conquest of the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan by Herman Cortes in 1521.